Hi Year 4 and welcome to my cheese making video. You've done such an excellent job writing explanations that you have inspired me to try and make some cheese. So let's get into it. So let's start with our ingredients. So we need 2 litres of milk, and as Zion worked out, we actually need unhomogenized milk if possible. We have a cheese cloth. We have some cheese salt. We have our rennet tablets. We have a thermometer to help us to work out what temperature our milk is at. We have a milk enhancer, which is kind of like our starter culture that we add in. And then we also have our instructions to help us. So let's get into making our cheese. So the first thing we need to do is we have a little bit of cold water in here. It has to be unchlorinated, so we have to boil it first and then cool it down. And we're going to add 2 of our rennet tablets into here, and we're going to stir it together so that they dissolve. And by the looks of it, it'll take a little while. So we start by pouring in 2 litres of milk into our saucepan. We already have our thermometer there so that we can work out the temperature of the milk as we heat it. So I've got 1 of them in and I need about 1/3 of this one to go in as well. So it's going to be pretty full. And then after that, we are going to add in 5 drops of our, our calcium chloride. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can stir that in. And then we are going to turn it on and heat it to 46 degrees Celsius. So now that the milk has reached 46 degrees Celsius and we've been stirring it the whole time, we need to turn off the heat. We need to remove it from that heat source. Oop, a bit heavy. And then we need to pour in the rennet that we have dissolved. And we have to pour it for 30 seconds and then cover it and take the spoon out. So we have been stirring it for 30 seconds, so we need to take our spoon out and put our lid on. So after we put the lid on, we need to keep it in a warm place for 40 to 50 minutes so that it can turn into curds and whey. One thing you could do is put it in the oven, or in this case, you can put it in a sink with some nice warm water in it to keep it warm. So now that our cheese has been resting, or rather our milk has been resting for about 45-50 minutes, we can take it out. And what we need to do is we need to use a knife, and you can see that it started to separate from the wall. So you can see this is a little bit bouncy. So what we need to do is we need to cut it into about 1 centimetre cubes. So mine are probably not going to be perfect, but I'm going to cut it into cubes, which is very hard to see because it's looks a little bit like custard at this point. And I'm going to cut this way. And then after I finish doing this, we need to leave it for another 5 minutes to rest. So there we go. We've cut it into cubes, which is probably pretty tricky for you to see, but if I go like this, you can see that little cubey bit there and there. And so I'm going to leave it for 5 minutes to rest. So we've left our curds to sit for 5 minutes, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to very gently start to stir them. And what's going to happen is it says that after me stirring them for about 5 to 10 minutes very gently. It should start to look like scrambled eggs. So at the moment it doesn't look like scrambled eggs, but I will keep stirring it and I will come back in 5 to 10 minutes to show you what it looks like. So you can see that I've been stirring this and now it's gotten a bit clumpy and funny. So what I'm going to do is I have over here, I have a colander with my cheesecloth in it, and I'm going to put it in my sink so that all of the whey is drained away, which remember is the liquid part. And I'm going to use a spoon to spoon in my cheese and my curds and whey into my cheesecloth. Makes a delightful noise. And hopefully all of that whey will start draining away. Now all of our curds are in our cheesecloth, and I squeezed it a little bit and had it in the colander, but now I have it hanging so that it can start dripping out. And we're just going to leave it like that for a while so that all of the whey can be dripped out of the cheese, and we'll see what happens. So our cheese has been draining and all of the whey has been draining below it, and now if I open it up, we can see we have some cheese. So the next step is that after this, we'll make it into the right size and everything and put it in a container and add some salt to it. So our cheese has been in the fridge. It's been shaped and molded by the container that it was in. Now this particular cheese is meant to be halloumi, so what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be slicing it into slices and then hopefully cooking it on the stove and seeing how it turns out. So I have added some oil to my pan and I've added in the cheese and I'm letting it bubble away just like I normally would with halloumi. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it tastes good. Year 4, you can tell that this is the first time that I've made this because I don't know what it's doing. It's kind of gotten a bit bubbly and things. We'll keep cooking it, we'll flip it, and we'll see what it tastes like. Hopefully, even if it looks like a mess, it tastes like cheese. So this was after I attempted to flip the halloumi. You can see we've ended up with lots of bits of scrambled cheese rather than big fat chunks of halloumi. But here's hoping it tastes good, because even if it looks like a mess, what matters is what it tastes like. So we'll have to wait and see. So I've just flipped it again and you can see it looks a lot more like halloumi. It's smelling good too. I wonder what it will taste like. So Year 4, this is a halloumi that we've made. I haven't tried it yet, so let's see what it's like. I'm just going to take a little bit because I'm going to put this into some halloumi burgers for lunch. So I'll try this a little bit. It tastes like halloumi. Even though it looks like an absolute mess, it turns out I made cheese. Hopefully you enjoyed this and hopefully you had heaps of fun writing these explanations. Who knows, maybe one day you can use the information you've learned to make some of your own cheese. Thanks, Year 4.